We're live. Hello, everybody. Me and Bryer from Bryers Music Showcase, we are reviewing the Byrds' very fourth album, Younger Than Yesterday. Yes, and of course,
Yes.
we're yeah, Bryer. Uh, introduce your channel yet again.
Yep. Bryers Music Showcase. I talk about music, all types of music, rock, metal, jazz, pop, just whatever. I cover a lot of it. I mainly collect CDs, but I do have some records as well. But yeah, that's basically my channel in a nutshell.
Nice. Uh, yeah, I'm excited. This was my first like Byrds album that I really fell in love with. This and Mr. Tambourine Man. They had two kind of shaky albums in between this and that. I've grown to appreciate both of those albums, Turn, and Fifth Dimension, but this is where their music gets really good. Their first album's great, but then I still think they had like that two album thing where they're just trying to make a great follow up, but they just run a little short on it. But uh, yeah, first track on the album. So you want to be a rock and roll star? What do you think about it?
All right, so I think I said this on the last video, but I think I said on something along the lines that they haven't had any bad opening tracks yet, and I think it's still true because think this is a great opening track. This was written by McGuinn and Chris Hillman, and that's really the big thing of this album is that Chris Hillman really starts to step up as a songwriter, and so you definitely notice not just in the lyrics but also in the bass playing as well. Like his bass playing throughout this album is very, very prominent here, which I enjoy. I like the use of the brass instruments on this one. It kind of has a world element to it, just a tad bit, but still, I really enjoy it. Lyrics is kind of a little bit on a humorous side, but it doesn't bother me like before. But where it's kind of poking fun of these like these manufactured pop bands appearing, most notably the Monkees, which were very popular at the time. Of course, they weren't being mean to the Monkees or anything, but they kind of just like a little poke at the elbow sort of thing. But yeah,
Yeah,
I enjoyed the song. This is a very good one.
I really like it. This is the only really big hit. This is the only hit that was really on it. This and another song which we'll be going into. That's on it. Two of these songs will be on the Byrds Greatest Hits album. And I think it's a really great opener. This is better. This is so far my favorite Byrds opener. It was Turn, and that song has overthrown Turn for me. But
Wow.
I could definitely see why you would think it's still their best song, but this song overthrown them. And,
Okay.
but Turn's still brilliant though.
Yeah, of
I
course.
still really love it. Next track. Have you ever seen her face?
Yeah,
Chris Hillman track.
yeah, this is another really good one. Really great follow up song. One of my favorites on this album. This is the first song on this album where it was solely credited to Chris Hillman, and definitely a great one. Again, the bass line on here is very, very
Mind
just a good
repeating some stuff
ear
because you
candy
broke
for
up
you.
a
Very
bit.
okay, yeah. So, which part did I cut out?
It was your favorite
Did I
song.
mention that? Okay, yeah. So it's one of my writing credits on this album.
Mm-hmm.
And the bass line on here is just absolutely well done. Just love the bass line, and McGuinn has a good solo in it, and with great harmonies. Has a very British Invasion feel to it.
Yeah, and
But
then
yeah,
great.
overall, this is another really good one.
Yeah, and it's crazy you say that, and it's a full on American track, and it's an American band, and I love it a lot. I'd say if you ever get the record, get the mono version because it has a little bit more jamming at the end with the McGuinn,
Okay.
and it's a little more jammy at the end. The stereo version cuts it out. I don't know if yeah, I'm pretty sure the CD version has just the stereo versions, but yeah, get the mono version if you ever get the record. This is definitely one of, if
Okay.
not my favorite song on the album. Definitely, definitely brilliant. I love it so much. I have zero problems with it. It's such a brilliant pop record. Really great pop song.
Mm.
Next song, CTA 102. What do you think about it?
Well, I'm happy this is not the end of the album. Unlike because I talked about in the previous albums where they always end on a joke song. Well, they do it here, but at least it's not the final song.
Hmm.
So yeah, this is about aliens, about a sci-fi song or something like that. I don't know. They got the name from some kind of quasar. This was written by McGuinn and some other person named Robert Hippard, if I said that right. And yeah, it exists. Yeah, this was kind of this. I was not really that big into it. This one, I found there's a lot of space sounds to it, which I kind of found a little bit annoying. And then at the very end, you have the alien talk, which is just somebody giving this high pitched voice, which was kind of just like, okay, it's
It was
kind
a
of
foreign
weird.
language. It was like someone speaking a foreign language, but they sped it
Mm-hmm.
up, so it
Yeah.
sounds like aliens talking.
Yeah, so I wasn't quite into that. So yeah, so after those first two songs, this after those two great two songs there, like you get to this one, it's like okay, kind of missing the mark now, but thankfully it's not look, thankfully it gets there's some much better songs afterwards. So yeah, wasn't too big on this one.
Okay, I really love this song. It shows them doing very psychedelic things. This came in between Sergeant Pepper's and Revolver, so
Mm,
this has a very Revolver like feel to it. Fifth
okay.
Dimension came before Revolver, so I and John Lennon and Paul McCartney had big inspirations from the Byrds. So it's nice to see the Byrds being inspired by the Beatles because I
Okay.
can definitely tell this is them like after listening to the Tomorrow Never Knows, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna try to do something even more crazier than that. And there's another song like that, which we'll get into that David Crosby sings and writes, but we'll get into that after. But I really think it's great. Yes, the alien bit is a little annoying, the alien talk at the end, but the song itself is really good. The space noises is cool. It's very futuristic, very ahead of its time. I really quite like it. It's good that we
Okay.
had opinions because it would be a crappy review if like we're like, yeah, this is great, and I'm like, oh yeah,
Right.
I agree, great. And then the next song, I'm not crazy about it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, yeah.
crazy about it. It's good that we have different opinions on it. Uh, Next song, which was the B
Exactly.
side to what's up? Oh,
No, no, I agree. I agree with what you said
yeah.
there.
Next song on the record, which is B side to My Back Pages, is Renaissance Fair. I
All right.
think that maybe
So this
I'm
is
dreaming.
yeah. So this was a Crosby and McGuinn collaboration. Very another really strong song. I really like this one. Again, I mentioned the bass line because again, the Chris Hillman's bass playing on here is really stands out to me throughout this whole album. And I like the saxophone in the song quite a bit. I thought that was a nice touch. I don't have a whole lot to say on it, but it's definitely a very good song. So yeah, I like it.
I love this song. It grew on me when I first heard it. I thought it was just an alright song, but the vocal harmonies and it's such a great song. One of the Animals, believe Eric Burden, he on the song called Monterey with Eric Burden and the Animals. This was
Okay.
after the original Animals, and it's funny we were talking about the Animals before on Jason's stream. But he makes a reference to this song. He's like, there's a part of the song where he's like, maybe I think I'm dreaming, or I forgot how the lyrics go, but he references this song. I'm like, oh, the Bird song. That's cool. And you were just talking about one song before sounding British Invasion, and here we have a British
Mm,
Invasion guy talking about like referencing a Bird song. So I thought that was kind of cool.
yeah.
Time Between. What do you think about it?
All right. All right. So another Chris Hillman led song. And from what I researched, this was the first song he actually wrote, at least before the album came out. So think about Chris Hillman. When I did research, he was already kind of big into bluegrass and country and stuff like that. So you can definitely tell he was bringing that to the table. Which of course on later albums they will go more in that country bluegrass
Yeah.
field. Yeah. So this is a nice little song. It's short. I mean, I don't think it's not that long. It's like not even it's like yeah, it's like I'm like looking at it. Not even
It's
two
like
minutes. Uh,
Renaissance Fair and Time Between and The Girl with No Name are like the shortest songs on the album. It's like just under 2 minutes,
yeah,
I believe.
So so it's very bluegrass inspired. It's short and sweet, but yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I'm not the hugest bluegrass fan, but I can take it in small doses. So this is kind of more middle of the road, but it's decent. I like it's another decent song.
I think it's pretty good. If you watched my track versus track video with this album and my Fifth Dimension album, I said it was probably my least favorite on this album on side one, and it's good, but it's just not amazing like the other four tracks. But it's pretty good.
Yeah,
Next track though,
I agree.
David Crosby on lead vocals. Everybody's been burned before. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I like the atmosphere, the dark atmosphere to this one. Very haunting. I really enjoyed that. And Crosby sounds really good on the track. And the lyrics are actually pretty relatable. Talking about like everyone has these emotional shields that they try to protect. And I think the song kind of pretty much sums that up pretty well. This ended up being one of my favorites on here. Yeah, this was
That's
pretty
great.
good. I like this one.
Yeah, I love this track. David Crosby. I mentioned it in our Crosby, Stills and Nash review that I loved his. Like I said, a gazillion times, his Birds input is my favorite. I loved his Birds input, and this is not an exception. It's brilliant. I love it, and it's such a great way to end off side one. I uh, I don't know if I like this better or the Fifth Dimension song better as the closer to side one to the record. With the I am dead from the last record. I don't know. Both songs are brilliant though. So yeah. Uh, Opening up side two brilliantly with the thoughts and words. I want to hear how you think about it though.
Yeah, this is a really good song. This song almost made the top 5. It was like got number 6. Again, this is another Chris Hillman song, and the guitar and bass in the song really play really well off each other. Um, the backward guitar that was featured on this song was pretty interesting. It was kind of cool. The only thing that kind of prevented the song from getting the top 5, I felt the chorus was a bit generic, but I love the verses. The verses were the biggest highlight of the whole song. I just love I talked about the bass guitar, how they play off each other. I really enjoyed the mood they set, but I feel like when they get to the chorus, it's
Yeah,
not quite as strong as the verse. But yeah, this is a great highlight for me. Again, it just barely missed the top 5, but yeah, this is a good one.
yeah. I really love this song. I'm at to disagree though. I love the chorus. I love the entire song. I
Okay.
love the little psychedelia that's in it too.
Mm-hmm.
This is brilliant. This is just a brilliant song. I love it to death. It's such a great song, and this is better than anything that was on the last album. That's how good it is. It's just
Yeah.
this and a bunch of and all my top 5 songs off this record are to me just far beyond better than Fifth Dimension. Even the best song on Fifth Dimension, like I mentioned, what's happening. I think it's a lot better than that too. So that should tell you how I feel about that. Next song though, Mind Gardens. What do you think? Another David Crosby song.
Yes. And apparently he fought really hard to get this song on the album, which again would lead to more tensions with him and the band. Um it's so I think you've mentioned you've put in the group chats, you've talked about this song before.
Hmm.
Uh yeah. Um I don't think this is the worst song on the album like most people do. Like most people always say this song's the
One
worst
person,
song.
one person on the YouTube comments was like, "How one song could ruin an entire album." I'm like, "What?
Oh wow.
No."
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's that bad. Like I think there's some good stuff about it. I really enjoy the acoustic playing on here. It's very nice. Um so yeah, that's kind of like the big highlight of the song for me. Um the only thing there's like two things that kind of draw the song back for me. I mean, I'm kind of mixed on Crosby's delivery. I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to do or the tone he's going for. I don't know if he's trying to fit in that psychedelic field, but it's very bizarre. And this one had a ton of backwards effects on it, which again thing the psychedelic, which again I don't mind that too much, but I feel like it goes a bit overboard. I feel like they could have toned down a lot of those backwards effects. But I get what he's trying to do. It's called Mind Garden, so it's trying to mess with you in a sense. But it's not really a song I would go back to very often. But I don't hate it. I think there's some good stuff about it. But yeah, no, it kind of fit. It kind of went to more the lower end of my ranking, but it's not bad. I didn't hate it.
That's fair. That's
Hmm.
truly fair. I'm glad you're not like, "Oh, this is garbage. This is the worst thing that ever came. This is the one song.
Hmm.
This is like a song that ruins the entire album." I'm like, when I saw like a bunch of people in
Yeah.
the YouTube comment section, I'm like, "Man, this song is overly hated. Like, what the heck, man? What the heck?" And one person had a good point. Was like,
Hmm.
if this was like a Beatles song, people would be a lot more accepting of it. But and it is true. I mean, you have to admit that. Like, if this was a Beatles song, a lot of people. I'm not saying this would be like a fan favorite Beatles song, but a lot of people would be more fair on it
Probably, yeah. Yeah,
because the
maybe.
Beatles are on this big pedestal of everything, and everyone is
Hmm.
just not as good. And so, yeah, I think it's brilliant. I think it's Crosby's best input in the band, in my opinion. I'm glad he got it on the album because I don't think any other song could have fit in its place as unique as this song. It's definitely the
Yeah,
Byrds,
only Crosby could write it.
not that Byrds. Only Crosby can make something that explosively creative. It just the only problem I have with it is that it makes me more upset when I go on the Crosby, Stills and Nash stuff and just hear his stuff on there, and I'm just like, wow, how can we go from Mind Gardens to Guinevere? But I know you said that's one of your favorites, but that's just how I feel. I'm like, how could we go from everybody's been burned? What's happening? Mind Gardens to Guinevere. So yeah, I know. Of course, like I said, I'm glad we have disagreements because if we both are thinking the same thing, it just makes it for
Yeah,
there's like no point in having you on the channel if you're just gonna be like, yeah, you're
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, I have the same opinion. Yeah,
I feel honored.
yeah. So
Hmm.
I just like I love having different opinions. It just makes it
Hmm.
better.
Right, of course.
Okay, you know how in the last video I said there's no Bob Dylan covers on the last album, Fifth Dimension.
Yeah. Oh
There
yeah,
is a Bob Dylan cover on this album.
that's
My
right.
is the yeah they couldn't help themselves. They had to do a Bob Dylan cover, and
Yeah,
what do you think about it?
yeah. Yeah,
Breaking up a little.
did the Bob Dylan cover. Um, from what I've read, I know Crosby was against this, as I was against it. He thought they were better than that, but they did anyway. And I will say, I think this is a really good cover of my back pages. I say, I think I might prefer this more than the original. And I've re-listened to the original, and I think it's still good. But I think the extra musicianship that the Byrds put on this one, it really works. I think it fits the tone of the song. Everyone sounds great on here, and of course, this song inspired the name of the album because one of the lyrics has something on the lines of "Yet
Yeah.
Younger Than Yesterday," probably. Um, but yeah, I love McGuinn's solo on here. I think this is one of my favorite songs on here. So yeah, this was another fantastic highlight on this
What a
album.
great way to follow up My Gardens, though. I must add. Though it's
Mm,
such a, I said it already before. I argue this is the best Dylan cover they did. I'd argue that. That's how good it is. It's such a brilliant Dylan cover, and you know what? Even though it would be nice to get away from the Dylan covers, try to like evolve, but this is the exception. Like if they did a song like
mhm.
times where they are changing, like something like weak like that, then I'd be like, oh man, really? That would have been the case of me saying, yeah, how one song could ruin an entire album, but they did it so brilliantly, and I love it a
Yeah.
lot. The Girl with No Name is the next song on the album. What do you think?
Right. So we're back to Chris Hillman. Features Clarence White on this one. Um, this was kind of based on a real person that Hillman knew, I guess. Definitely again going back to that country sound. Another one of those short and sweet songs here. Um, definitely a good one. I'm trying to see where I put it originally. Okay, I kind of put it more towards the bottom because it is kind of, again, I'm not the hugest country fan, but I still think this is still pretty good. So yeah, not much to say for me.
Me too. I Yeah, I know. I was saying like, oh, it's great that we have. Yeah, I agree. It's just kind of a decent track. I never usually remember it. Like I remember
Yeah.
all 10 tracks for its own ways, but this just I don't know. It's very boring.
Mm,
The other ones, it's great, but it's not as strong as the other ones. Now we get to the last song on the record. Why? Which this is the album version. The single version is on the Fifth Dimension CD copy, which
yes.
not Jason Bryar has, and it's the B side to 8 Miles High.
Yes.
What do you think about the last track?
All right. So I had to compare the two, getting ready for this just to see how they compare. And yeah, there was definitely a ton of differences. Obviously, the original is a lot more grittier. I think definitely have a more darker sound, and definitely has a more Indian, definitely taking that more Indian psychedelic sound to it. So on this album, they kind of tone it down up quite a bit. It's a bit more brighter. Um, Different guitar sound. The bass wasn't as prominent as it was on the original single version. Um, but you still have the core stuff. Like you have McGuinn just doing a sitar influenced guitar sound, which is pretty cool. I really enjoyed the tone he went for on this one. And yeah, like after like what 2 albums in a row where they had like very weak closing songs, like I can safely say this is actually a good closing song because it's
Finally,
not. Yeah, I know. Finally,
I know.
uh,
I
yeah,
even agree with the third album that it ends on such a really bad note, but this one it's different.
yeah. It's. I mean, it's not really a joke song now. I mean, I can't. Well, I don't know what the song's about. I didn't dive too deep into the lyrics, but it's not that much of a joke song. It's a good way to close out the album, and yeah, this was another big highlight for me. So,
I
good
love
song.
this. I love this track. It's brilliant. This is definitely their best closing track so far.
Yeah.
It will be one upped in the next album, Space Oddity, not Oddity, Space Odyssey, and I'm excited to go over that with you, which we'll get into that next week when we go into the Notorious Bird Brothers.
Mm,
And yeah, it has a really great opener closer, which I'm excited to go over that album. Why? What a great song, and
yeah.
what a brilliant way to end off the album. That's all my thoughts.
Mhm.
Uh, 5 favorite songs. A dishonorable song. and your album rating.
All right. So top 5. So at number 5, I have Why. Then number 4, I have Everybody's Been Burned. Number 3, So You Want to Be a Rock and Roll Star. Number 2, Have You Seen Her Face? And number 1 is My Back Pages. And then
Nice list.
and then for a dishonorable track, I'm gonna go with CTA 102. All the reasons I said before. And then for a rating, this was kind of tough. I didn't know what to rate this before, but I can't remember what I gave the first album, but I think right now I'm gonna give it a 8.5 out of 10. Again, very good album. This is probably, I think so far. I know you said you want to do a ranking at some point of the albums, but this
Mhm.
one would probably rank pretty high for me. I
Yep.
I think so. So 8.5 for me.
Let's say after our review on the Sweethearts of the Rodeo, which is their 6th album,
Hmm.
we're basically be doing a mid discography ranking, which
Okay.
that ought to be fun. My 5 favorite songs. Number 5, Everybody's Been Burned before. Number 4, can't think of the name right now. Why? Number 3, uh, Thoughts and Words. Number 2, Have You Ever Seen Her Face? My favorite song on the album, Mind Gardens.
All
Yes.
right.
To many, it's the worst. To me, it's
Okay.
the best. And the dishonorable track, The Girl with No Name. And the only reason why I'm picking that song is because I have to pick a song. So
Right.
if
Yeah.
I had my choice, wouldn't pick any songs. But I'm gonna stick with my gun with picking a dishonorable track, and I guess that will be the dishonorable track. Rating 10 out of 10. It's a
All right.
perfect album, front to back. I have to me, there's no hiccups on this album. There are hiccup moments on a couple of the tracks, but to me, there isn't a track that I'm like, ugh, skip, or
Yeah.
like, skip. Like even the weakest track is still really good. So yeah, what
Cool.
a what a great review. I'm excited to review the next album to the Notorious Bird Brothers.
Yeah.
Hopefully my copy will come in by Saturday. That'd be nice.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And yeah, um, hope you guys enjoy the video. I know we enjoyed making it, and see you guys in the next video.